Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Spiritually Speaking. In today's episode, I have the beautiful Fiona joining me. Thank you so much for agreeing to be my guest, and I'm so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here. You don't believe it. I'm feeling really excited.
Me too, actually. So good. Well, tell us about yourself, what you do, and all of the things we just said in pre-chat. This is going to be a very free-flowing conversation.
Oh,
So wherever
yeah.
spirit takes us today is where we're going to go.
Okay, so what was coming up beforehand was that I believe and I feel and I'm being told that there is this line being drawn in the sand for 2025. We are an evolving population, as you well know. And this is the line in the sand when you choose to carry on the way that you're going with force and effort and maybe running your business in your life with what you see other people do, but you're not expanding very much into this just well of so much more availability for you and being a creator being and letting yourself be guided. And on the other side of the line, it's just like you ask a question and things are delivered to you, answers are delivered to you. Um, you can feel into people's souls. You can put out there on the horizon a question, and you can feel the answer coming back to you. It's like stepping into a portal and just like, right, what would it be like if I ran this business and I did it in this way or that way? And it's like, oh, right, okay. So then you pull in another portal for you and think, well, what about if I ran the business like this? What would that be like in 6 months? Oh, so it's like an activation process. And this is where we're evolving. And
Yes.
my children, my children's children will going to look very different to how we look because we're at the leading edge of bringing all of this in. And I find it so exciting. And I wish I was younger.
So you could enjoy it more and for longer in this lifetime.
Yeah, but
I
I
completely
can
understand.
see why I am kind of 60 and pulling this world in. And I was telling one of my clients this morning, I've been at the leading edge with a lot of things. So the cameras that are in your phone now, 20 years ago, I was selling the camera that went on top of your screen, that went on a board, and it was a great big computer like this. And I was at the forefront of that until I was told, sell your business. I was like, really? Do you really? My question was that came through, do you really want to be doing this in 5 years' time? And I was like, no, but I was holding on to it. It was my baby. I thought that's who I was. That was my identity. So then traveling, ended up in France, unemployable, didn't know how I was going to support my family. My partner wasn't working for his business. And I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Please help me. What am I going to do? And then it got all downloaded to me in visions when I was breastfeeding my baby. I was like, oh, 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 oh. So then I had to go off and create that. And that was my journey into detox and running small retreats. And, someone came onto my retreat. She was a photographer for a massive magazine in Holland. And, that just splayed out into me doing that for the next 5 years. And this is all guidance. And so my mission is to live a guided life myself. And I call it practical magic. Because when something comes in, you go, oh, God, that's amazing.
Yes.
Um, yeah, it's my mission to carry on living like that and help other people understand that we don't need to carry on living in this settling, mediocre,
Yes. That's a
average.
great word too. Yeah. I
Don't
agree
settle.
with you
Just
100%. Like, I'm so goosebumpy listening to you talk about this because that's where I'm at too. I just told my girlfriend this morning when we were chatting on the phone, my two words for this year are magic and expansion because I feel like everything is just so expansive right now. Like, what edge? There is no edge. You know what I mean? I look for it and I don't see there's an edge. It's so beautiful.
And that is the line in the sand. You're living in edges. And when I explain it to my clients, I explain it to you're still hanging on to the sides of the swimming pool.
Yes.
Right? Remember that when you used to go swimming and you'd hang on to the side of the swimming pool. Oh no, I'm not going to go in there too deep. And
Yeah.
then to the other side, we're just like, you're in the ocean now. It's just like, yeah, I can manage this. I can regulate my own emotions. I can create new relationships, I can create new ways of doing business, I can create my own health, I'm open for guidance. My limited broadband, where I was frightened and couldn't feel as much love that I wanted to, is stretching. And
Yes.
your intuition and everything else comes through, and you realize that what you're feeling most time isn't yours. You're feeling it from someone else, and you're able to go, well, if it's not mine, then I'm not going to worry about it.
Yes. We do a lot of that as humans, don't we? Worrying about what we feel from other people. It's very, it seems like that's to me like one of the biggest things. I know it was in my own life because I just said to somebody yesterday, I was a people pleaser. I lived in what other people thought about me, felt about me, what could I do to be better in their eyes, and all of that stuff. So letting go of that and stepping into, like using your words, the ocean of loving myself and seeing what it is that I want, what I like, what expectations I have for myself as a person, was really frightening to me.
I think what triggered it for me, and what triggers it in the people that I talk to, is we seem to get to the stage when I don't want to live like this anymore. I can't live
Yes.
like this. You've got health scares, you've got relationships, I call it soul interventions, when the rug gets pulled underneath you. And it's
Yes.
just like, I don't want to live like this anymore. And at that point, I teach people how to come back and find their soul, find out who you really, really, really are,
Yeah.
so that you can be in the supermarket, or you could be going through the biggest catastrophe that you've found so far in your life, and you're like, so you know how to navigate it, and you know how to handle it. And then all those peaks and troughs of all the dramas that you are in just seem to sort of, oh well, I can surf this one. It's fine, because you're understanding that you're looking at things through new eyes. You're looking at things through the eyes of your soul.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, I'm feeling something. Well, I'm feeling it's just an energy. So if I'm terrified, or if I'm feeling rejection, or if I'm feeling hurt, what if I just say, it's just energy? Okay, but I can't see it. How do we get a grasp of something that's intangible, like a feeling? If you can see it as a color, if you can see it as, give it a name, or you can just do something with it that's slightly more tangible for the human mind, because the human mind wants to understand, wants to analyze everything, and
Mm.
it just can't get a get a grasp on it, because it's not there. And that's why people think, oh, I don't feel loved. And you think, well, you are, but you're just not focusing on it. You're focusing on all the not love feelings, rather than look at all the things that you do love and you can love. And do you understand what I'm saying? It's just like, if you can't hold on to something, and this is what we're asking people to do when you go across this line in 2025, like, you're living in a world that is beyond your imagination.
Yeah. It is. And it's the trickiest thing. It has been for me to be able to reconcile those things together, the 3D, the logical mind, and the expansive way of looking at things. Like, how do you merge those two things together? It's very difficult for a lot of people. I love how you said give it a color, or give it a something that, give it a symbol or something that feels more tangible and real to you, that you can then focus on that. And don't you feel like I just the term came into my mind, reticular activating system. So I feel like
Absolutely.
and know that we find what we look for. For instance, you have a pink pillow behind you, right? So if I'm, noticing that, then I can look around and all of a sudden I'm seeing all these pink things because my attention has been drawn to that color. So it's a lot like that, I feel.
It is. So I have a story about this pink. It's actually a pink ruff. It's like a boa.
Okay.
So I was in Portugal, and I love to play, and it was Christmas, and I thought, oh great, go for a lovely restaurant or something like that. But then everything was shut. And I was like, how weird. Anyway, so we went to walk around the town that we were in, Sintra, beautiful town. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun? So this is how I play. Wouldn't it be fun if I could find something pink and fluffy? I'm just wearing too much black. So I'd walked around Sintra, and a lot of the shops were shut, but it was like there was a fair and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, I'd put it in the back of my mind, but I wasn't focusing on it. But as we walked back to where we were staying, I was just like, oh, I didn't find anything pink and fluffy. Oh no. And we're getting very close to where our hotel is. And I just went, why am I noticing that shop? The window dressing was all white. And it was a cold day. And I thought, oh, all white. Really weird. And I just got this feeling of being pulled in, like just go into the shop. And I was like, all right, okay. Went to the shop and okay, well, now where? Keep going, keep walking, keep walking. Down the end, there was this pink ruff and there was a blue one. I went, ah, not blue. I want pink. So I bought it and I went, huh. So if you're
That's
asking for guidance, guidance is there and it just makes life so much more fun. And I do this with business and I do this with everything that I can. I play card games with the kids and I say, I'm only open for the dice falling on 6, or I'm only open for a card that's lower than, whatever.
yeah,
And I'm teaching my ladies who are spiritual, who are very open to this kind of thing, but they're not using it for a practical purpose. And I'm like, but you can, and I've just finished a challenge about listening into the soul of your clients and their clients telling you why exactly they would want to work with you. And one of the ladies turned around, she said, I did what you did about when you were looking for your son's scooter keys the other day. I said, all right, okay. So she said, I had an upgrade on my phone. That meant I had to put the code back in. And she went, oh, can't remember the code, can't remember the code, can't remember the code, can't remember what's the code, what's the code, what's the code. And she asked, she said, okay, fine, I'm not going to panic. She said, what's the code? And she got the number and she went, you only get three attempts, don't you? The first two, you think, oh, shit, I didn't get it. Oh, can't put that in. So she went to the book where she had written down all her codes. We've all got them now, haven't we? Because we need so many passwords and codes. She found the code and she went, oh, it was exactly the number I was given. So you can ask, but the relationship that I build up with you and your soul and the spirit of your business, because your business is living, it's an
yes,
entity, it's a living being conscious. If you don't trust the information you're given, it's going to be like, go on then.
right.
But the more you trust, the more it goes, oh, great, I can give you some more information. And it's like a relationship, like if you don't trust your partner doing something, then, well, they're not going to give you very much back in return, and so the relationship just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse because you're not in any communication.
That's right.
So how can you bring that? So you were talking about earlier on, your hands even said it. How can you bring those two things together? It's trusting yourself, trusting your guidance, trusting yourself to receive the guidance, to
Mhm.
decipher it. And I believe that I'm getting so much more now. And I do always get so much more when I do a detox or a cleanse. But because I spent so long doing the detox and the cleanse life, because that's what I was guided to do when I first came to France, I believe that just kind of opened it all up.
Yeah, that's beautiful. It really is about trust and allowing room for it to look different. We get these, in my experience, we get these preconceived notions of what it's supposed to look like, what it should look like.
Yeah.
And we limit ourselves so much because I always say you can't out creative spirit. I mean, you can't come up with some of these things on your best day of creativity. Spirit just can do things in these magical, beautiful ways and so quickly when we allow it. It's fascinating. I've had that recently in my life, just this week, actually, in just things just happening so quickly. And it's absolutely amazing.
I think you'll find that I mean, we're almost on that slip road getting onto the motorway, like when it's starting to go really fast. And if you're not thinking the right things, you're just going to attract more rubbish. So now it really is listening. And what is it that you are going to create next? What is it that you've got in your mind? You will just get fed back to you so much faster because there's like 6 lanes of traffic coming and you need to hop in one of these lanes.
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to a video. I don't know if you know who David Bear is, but I was listening to one of his videos this morning, and he was talking about manifestation and how we don't have to know the how. He goes, it doesn't mean there's not going to be a how, but the how is going to be revealed to you as things go along. You don't have to know it in the beginning because you can give yourself that space to know that this outcome is good. I have one of those happening in my life right now. Like I know this big thing is happening. I have no idea how it's going to happen or when. I just know it's going to happen. I feel it in my soul. And it's such a beautiful place to be. It's very exciting to me.
It's like the excitement of the anticipation. It's like, oh, I can feel something's happening and I can feel something's changing, but I don't know what on earth, what shape it's going to take, like
Right.
how is that going to come through? And we all want that. We all want that crystal ball, don't we? We all want to be able to look in and see what it's going to be like. Some of the readings that I've done for people have moved on in the fact that, so this is what the spirit of the business wants for you.
Mhm.
So it will talk to you, and I do the reading for that. And they're kind of saying, yeah, but what's it going to feel like in 6 months? I said, well, I can guide you in there. And I said, I can't tell you because this is your experience. I can teach you how you can feel into that for yourself. So, like, what's your best thing to do so that you feel this in 6 months? Or how can I do my marketing and sales so that this works? Or how are we creating the people that we want to work with rather than just accepting the ones that fall in? How are we settling for the ones that fall in? Or how are we saying, I'm only open for the most gorgeous souls that there are to work with that I would love to sit with for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, that's it. Seriously, because yes, we have to set that. To me, that's a boundary, right? Where we set those guidelines. We're not going to accept anything less than it's this or something better, you know?
Yeah. And that's something that I love to play with as well. I was on a call yesterday with because of this challenge that I was doing, and one of the ladies, you could see that she was, like when a spiritual woman or a woman just gets into business and she's very passionate about what she does, but as soon as business comes in there, it's like it does not compute, does not compute.
Yep.
Your mind all gets in a tither about it. And she was getting in a tither about it. And she couldn't sort of see any bigger than very narrow. And I was like, okay, so this is happening. What could be better than that? Well, that could be better than that. I said, oh, well, what could be better than that? Oh, and through the whole process, she was expanding her vision to kind of go, oh God, that feels so much better than thinking that she had to do this funneling and strategy and advertising and finding her clients that way and that way and that way. Because what we say isn't necessarily received. So like your affirmations, like I
Yeah.
want to be abundant, like it's flatlining if there's nothing going on there at all. But I can understand where it was in 20 years ago, and Louise Hay and everything like talked about the affirmations, fine. Because my spirit animals, they're dragons. They they see what they feel. They pick up what they feel from you, your frequency. And years ago, I was writing posts and letters, and I was like, oh, is this right? And it's like, Fiona, it's not in your words. It's like, huh? So we all progress and we all understand that it's not to do with necessarily what we're saying. And we try and say so much that, the energy of who we are and what we want has to sort of match up to where we want to be. But it's
Mhm.
this bit that's the work. It's like, how do we get our energy from there to there? And of course, there are processes that we have to practice, rehearse, retell, redo, refine, so that our energy changes.
Yeah. That really is the key. It really is the key, changing your energy frequency to this more elevated place. It makes all the difference in the world. And other people feel it.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. My friend and I were talking about that this morning. It just, if you create a space with your energy because you are so comfortable with yourself and you know who you are and your frequency is so high, they're going to be people who are drawn to you because of that. And they're going to be people who actually are kind of afraid of you because of that, because it makes them feel very
They will resist
uncomfortable.
it because they're like, oh, she's so confident. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how it plays out with other people.
I like to say that you're like a transmitter, so you're receiving and you're transmitting. And
Yes.
sometimes if there's something like they say it's your intention or something that's going on in the back of your head or you're worried about something, if your message is not clear and pure about why you're here and what you're doing it to do with business or in a relationship or something, it will be felt. And that will be enough to repel someone or make kind of go, not feeling it. You can scroll through Facebook
Yeah.
and you can pick up the energy of people in Facebook, let alone, oh, that voice, no, or no, the subject, oh, no. So, you scroll through and you believe it, you feel it. So I teach people how they feel the energy of other people in the room.
Hmm.
Who would be their best client? Who would be the best person to speak to? Where's their energy? Because your body will respond.
Yes.
This is your barometer, the barometer for your soul. So she's sending out messages all the time and she's going, oh, no. And I did my intellectual property. So intellectual property for my book that's called Practical Magic, Living a Guided Life, and all the work that I do. So Practical Magic needed to be intellectual property. And I paid for it, got the certificate. And then about 2 weeks later, I got another certificate through the post with a bill, and then another certificate through the post with a bill. And I was like, how weird is that? Like, oh God, have I not paid? And you start doubting yourself. And it just, I felt so disgusting. And I went, something's off here. So I looked and I tried to get hold of the guy who'd organised it all for me, couldn't get hold of him. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? What if I don't do anything with this? And I was just like panicking. And then I went, but it feels wrong. And I then asked, is this a hoax? Is this a spam? And I just got my yes response. And I went, oh, wow.
Wow.
You feel it.
Yeah. It's absolutely incredible how much information our bodies give us when we just pay attention.
Yeah, but and if you're not used to it, it takes a little while to decipher everything that you're feeling. It's like, oh, there's just too much to do. Well, on the contrary, it's kind of a lot less to do once you get into the habit
Yeah.
of doing it, because we're all holding on to so many different beliefs and thoughts and ways of operating. And this is what the dragons have shown me when I interviewed them. I had like this series of conversations with these dragons that came through when I was writing my book, and I'm like, dragons? What are you talking about? And they're like, we have waited such a long time to speak to you
Oh,
until
wow.
you were ready. And I was like, okay. And then the messages that they gave me, which ended up in these dragon cards, I'm, originally when they came through, I went, whoa, wow, that's powerful. And now I'm kind of going, whoa, this is how we operate going forwards. This is how we operate and change our inner stories and see into guidance and keep on asking and keeping on giving more detail. All of this it's an operating manual for the human.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty profound. So I find it so interesting that you have dragon guides. I know I've spoken with several people recently who have dragon guides. It seems like they're being brought forward more and more recently. Why do you think that is?
Okay, you use the word brought forward. They're not brought forward. They are just here and they're coming in massively at the moment. Last year they came in massively. Because we are going through a massive change on the
Yes,
planet.
we are.
We're going through a massive change. They've done it before, they've helped humanity before. We are evolving into, they're saying, a different race. We're evolving into a different race. So your children and your children's children will already do this. Like my kids are already connected to their soul, regardless of me. They came in and they kind of knew things that I didn't know. They do things that I didn't know were possible. I only thought that would be fun. And they do it as a matter of fact, but they both have different skills. So the dragons are here because we're going through a massive evolution. The evolution is that we are telepathic, we're empathic, we are able to ask for guidance, we're able to create our own realities, which is exactly the whole message from the dragons is claim your power. You don't know how powerful you are.
Yeah.
Create your own reality. And then when you do, the guidance comes and then you trust that. So this is a different way of operating.
Yes.
And yes, the dragons are there specifically for that. They come in teams. So I've got a team of 8 specifically for the first portal. The first portal is up to a point where you're learning all about that and you're starting to practice it. You're learning it, you're practicing it, you're remembering it, you're learning it, you're practicing it, you're remembering it. And then you sort of like get to jump over this line or under the rainbow or off the cliff. And you come into a space of utopia where you just kind of go, I know how this works. I'm going to ask. I'm going to follow my guidance. So this is you in the second portal when you are trusting and using, and for every single thing you can possibly imagine, you're using your guidance. And there's no going back. You can't just go, I'm just going to settle for whatever comes. No, no.
Right.
And then there is a third portal after that that I've been shown, which is there's a massive black dragon up there. He's just so awesome and fierce if you don't know who he is, but he's no ego. This part here is all no, you human, you don't have an agenda, you don't have an ego, you will follow your guidance, you are here for something bigger. You know, this is the whole journey of it all. And these are my dragons. Other people have baby dragons that they're raising. Other people have healing dragons. And when I've done readings for certain people, this vision that Source has for you, some of the huge entities that I'm meeting for people are incredible. I have a lady in Australia, and she was an animal communicator, and she helps the police in investigations to find lost bodies.
Wow.
And she finds the exact coordinates. And it's this entity that's helping her to sort of tune in and find precise details.
Wow. That's
Incredible.
amazing.
And this is what the dragons are for. It's like, no more dabbling now, zero tolerance for you not knowing what the rules are. Not rules, but the way to operate. So
Right.
like, you know it. So well, come on, let's just get on board and let's do it.
Right. Like quit playing small, you know?
Quit playing small. We're playing so small. When you're here, when you when you have the vision source reading, it's just like, oh, it's so much bigger than me. And we've given all our power over to spirit. Well, we've kind of gone, please help me with this and please help me with that. And we're being very responsive when we've got a bad thing going on. We're asking for help. Whereas spirit are kind of going, have you any idea how awesome you are?
Right.
Have
Like,
you
because
any
we are
idea?
spirit, we are it.
Yeah, and you chose
And
to be here now at a really, really tough time.
yeah, I feel like we say these things so much that it's almost like and in that. Like, how many times do we say those words and we don't even think about it? I feel like we're also doing that with some of these spiritual terms. Like, we're spirit having a human experience. We hear that so much and we don't even really understand the
You
magnitude
can't you
of
can't
what that
grasp it
actually
because it's
means.
not tangible. It's
Right.
just like, I don't get it. I don't see. So anything that you don't see,
Yeah.
it's like, well, it doesn't exist then. That's the way that we've been indoctrinated. And
Yes.
it's really funny because my previous job, I think I was telling you earlier on, to like, when I was told, do you want to be doing this in 5 years' time, was miniature cameras. And it's cameras on microscopes. So basically, I was helping people to see where your eyes couldn't see.
Yeah.
And that business was called Vision Source, because I was distributing miniature cameras into, oh God, nuclear power stations, extreme sports, cameras on microscopes and all that kind of stuff into hospitals. And then I was driving in the car one day. I said, what am I here for? What am I here for? What am I here for? What is it that you want me to do? What's my next purpose? Driving in my car, I always get so much information.
Yes.
And they just said Vision Source. And I went, and then I roared and laughed. And I was like, you are kidding me. I'm not to go back to that. And they were like, no, what were you doing when you did Vision Source? I was like, oh my God, I was helping people see what they couldn't see for themselves. They
Yeah.
went, uh-huh. So that's why I do these Vision Source readings, because I was told to do them maybe 2 years before that. And I argued saying, I'm no mystic, Meg. I'm not a psychic. I'm I'm a planner.
Right.
Um, and I was told to do these readings to get me out of the way, because I was arguing and saying, I don't know how to do that. It's not, and I got back the answer, well, it's not you that does it, sunshine. So step out of the way. To teach me how to step out of the way.
Right.
Because I need to teach other people how to step out of the way.
Yeah.
And when it
That's so
comes through so
profound.
clear, yeah, when it comes through so clearly, it's like, you can't not do it then. So I started doing them and I was always like, well, you can take this reading with a pinch of salt. It's what it's what I got. And then people were coming back and they were going, oh my God, how did you see that? Nobody, I've never told anyone that I wanted to do that in my business, or that's what I felt in my business, or
That's
like,
incredible.
oh, I don't know. I just tell you what I see and what I feel. So like it's understanding the language that comes up through your soul. You then get with your head out of the way to decipher it and then bring it out to someone so that you can feed back to them what they need to hear in the way that they need to hear it.
Yeah.
And so many people have kind of, I think you know her as well, Jill. She said she had a reading and she said, I put it to one side. I was kind of a bit skeptical about it. And she said, now I've gone back to the reading 2 months later. I'm like, exactly what you said has happened. I'm now doing this, this, and this is all falling into place. I'm like, okay, so they're not just readings actually. So when you're in my company and when I'm channeling, it's an activation then. It's a transmission. And they said, well, yes. And I'm like, ooh.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so incredible. I love that so much.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool. Do you
And
have
everybody
a
has the capacity to do that. Okay, I've put a lot of human effort into stepping out of the way. I've put a lot of effort into doing what I think or I'm told, and listening and oh gosh, well, if you say that, well, okay, then I'll trust you. And it's like as I build my trust up, so more information comes through.
yeah. And that's the beautiful thing is where the more we do, it like just builds this momentum and it happens so much faster. I'm so amazed at how quickly it happens sometimes. It's
Speed of light,
incredible.
darling. Speed of light.
Yes.
It's just, all right, that's what you want. Boom. As soon as you tap into that, it's like, all right, okay. The only thing that stops it is when you kind of go, don't think I can do that. Don't know if I can. Don't know if I'm able to do that. It's all right for you. I don't think I can do that. Or what if I do that and things go wrong? So as soon as you do that, it's like doors shut.
Yeah, they do. And you feel it. Like the other day, I usually, almost always, I'm not going to say always, but 99.9% of the time, I journal in the morning and I do a card reading for myself. And just a couple days ago, I got this reading where I was told this amazing thing about myself. And I was like, okay. You know, and I wrote it in my journal, like in big letters. I wrote, okay, I accept. And I just got this flood of goosebumps all over my body. And I'm like, I'm just so excited. I have no idea how it's going to happen or when or any of that, but I feel it. And it was so exciting in that moment to just, oh, okay. Like it was so freeing. Like I just accept this, however it looks. Whatever amazingness happens between now and that, I'm completely here for it. So excited.
And that's why I call it practical magic, because when that comes in, you are all on board. You
Yeah.
feel it, you see it, you have a sense of it. It's just amazing. One of the messages that the dragons gave me, and I kind of understood it when they told it to me, and then when they told me to make this deck of cards about the operating of the human. And it was like, witches, warlocks, wizards, they did magic because nobody ever told them that they couldn't.
Right.
And I went, so simple.
Yeah.
You believe it. If you say it and so it shall be, it's like, it's not just saying the words and, finitum. It's like, you totally and utterly, well, of course, there's absolutely nothing standing in my way. But, as humans with the leading edge that we're on, not the generations that come after us, because they'll kind of go, well, of course, why did you struggle with that so much? Because they're actually
Right.
going to be a different way. Because, the parents and hopefully the mothers and grandmothers will have gone through all of this and they were able to teach it so much better.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. And what is standing in the way? I mean, really?
Your ego, your all the resistance is means that your ego thinks it's right,
Yeah.
which is okay. You can be right, but like being in a partnership or a couple, it's just like, yeah, but look at all the stuff that I've done that had worked. well, yeah, okay, but that was just a fluke, you know. And I was like, well, hang on a second. What about if we tried again this time? You are really, really good at doing this and this and this and this and this strategically, but I'm amazing at creating or doing different things or coming up with great ideas. Is there anything that I could do right now that you haven't been able to work out? Well, yeah, there is one thing, but I doubt you'll be able to do it. I haven't been able to do it for years. Like, oh, give me a go, give me a go, give me a go. And then it gets handed over. You see how the communication goes. It gets handed over and it happens. But the mind still goes, just luck, sheer luck, you know?
Right.
And it's like, well, give me something else then. And you have to get the human has to get the evidence and the proof.
Mm.
And then she'll forget evidence, proof. And that's why I was told to write out all the instances and stories and just all the things that go well to do with practical magic, how
Yeah.
I turn things around by changing the thought and actually just saying, no one else is coming to save me. I am the only one who can change any of these circumstances.
Right.
Only me, by what I think, what I feel, and what I do. That's huge responsibility. And the dragons often say, are you ready to grow up? And you kind of go, gee,
That's a little harsh, but it's very
no,
true
no,
though,
but they
isn't it?
are. They are. They're so cheeky. They mean it in a cheeky way, you
Yeah.
know. And when they said it to me, I'm just like, what? And then sometimes when I've got a client who's really sticky, they say that line. I'm like, no way. And they go, say it, because it makes you kind of go, what? And then you're able to say, but you're still blaming your mum for this, this, and this.
Yes.
You're still blaming your dad for this, this, and this. You're still blaming your ex for this, or your son for this, or the neighbor for that. It's like, change it yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that's so much giving our power away to other people, you know? Like, why? I mean, especially with exes, like ex anything, ex bosses, ex friends, ex whatever. It doesn't have to be an ex lover, it could just be any kind of ex. Like, if they're not in your life, why would you want to give them any kind of power on over what's going on in your life? I mean, to me, that is so counterproductive, but us humans, we do that so often.
But then also look at the message that's coming back. Can you see where you're giving your power away to spirit? You're giving your power away to the doctors. You're giving your power away to the education system. You're giving your power away to medication. You're giving your power away to everything else. When if you just asked, or a business coach or whatever, it's like, oh God, can you just tell me how to market and sell my business? Because I can't do it. I can't. I'm really rubbish at technical stuff. Like, ask for help then.
Yeah.
Spirit can help you with everything, or put somebody in your path. Yeah, so it's amazing the people that come up and push our triggers,
Yeah.
open up the patterns for us to see if we're able to see them with aware and awakeness, and just kind of go, oh yeah.
I've had a couple of those lessons here really
Oh, I
recently.
mean, you wouldn't be here if you hadn't. You know, there's no point walking around in a white coat saying everything is absolutely working tickety boom perfect for you, because no one who's here right now can have that on every single aspect of their life. They may have sorted it out to do with their relationships or their health or their business, but maybe there's an argument going on in their family and they're just like, I've got no idea how to change this. You know, there
Right.
will be something somewhere,
Yeah.
just to keep reminding you to keep creating, keep changing. And as you do, so you then just create something bigger. You know, you and I maybe would aspire to be creating something as big as Reagan Hillier. You know, she's got this place in Costa Rica and think, how did you do that? And
Yes.
if you tap into her energy, if you feel where she is, where her thoughts are, how laser focused she is, how on point she is, you kind of go, okay, so there's the difference between her energy and my energy. And this is what I do with my clients as well. It's like, who would you like to tap into that you hold in high esteem? Seeing as we're all one, we're all source, we can tap into that and kind of go, okay, how do I need to change in order? I don't necessarily want to have a retreat in Costa Rica, but how do I change to be my fullest potential?
Yeah. Yeah. I listened to this amazing video that she had out a while back, and I can't remember the name of it or anything, but she talked about having containers for what you desire to create. That was one thing. Like she said, if you want lots of money, the money has to have somewhere to go. What do you plan on doing with it? There has to be a container for it.
Where does it
So,
go in? And then what are you going to use it for?
yes, exactly. And it can't just be like, I mean, it could be like just, I want a Maserati or whatever like that. But if it's for something that's in service, creating a way for you to be more expansive so you can help more people, then it's more likely to come in. I don't remember her exact words, I'm paraphrasing. And then the other thing she said that I found so profound was having a vision beyond the vision. So you have this beautiful thing that you're creating, but what's beyond that? Like what happens when that comes into fruition? What are you going to do then after that? Because we're so expansive. I mean, I just keep coming back to that word. We're so expansive. And I've watched her creation that she's done in Costa Rica from the time that she first was over there visiting, and then they started creating this, and now like all of the things, and just, I mean, like I've seen the pictures of it and everything, and it's crazy. Like it is so crazy huge. And she just keeps on going because she's like a little child in that she imagines it, and it's so real to her. It has no choice but to be created in this physical reality because there's no doubt, there's zero doubt that it can happen.
When I created this house, I thought I was asking for too much at the time.
Yeah.
So I had the whole list of what I mean, I've done it for partners, I've done it for relationships, I've done it for other things. But, and this house taught me so much in that we needed 5 bedrooms. We needed the boys all upstairs on one roof because my partner had two and I had two boys there. I wanted them to have their own bathroom and their own space. Open living plan, kitchen that's all modern and sliding, all the rest of it, big open space, flat garden, room for my spa in one corner, big garage underneath that we can make into a studio and maybe possibly another studio. My partner wanted a dead end street. I wanted to be able to cycle to the beach. We had to have it for a certain price.
Yeah.
Once we and first of all, it was we wanted to be able to have a house because we thought we'd have to renovate it. If we get a house for that price in that area, we're going to have to renovate it. And then I went, oh, no, why don't I
Why?
just say I want it fully decorated? As soon
That's
as I
right.
said I wanted fully decorated and ready to move in, then what I said was, how about we move in May, and in June we move out, we rent it for the summer, we earn, 10 grand or something, then we move back in September when the boys go back to school. I got every single thing on my list.
I love it.
So why don't we just keep creating? And yeah, we forget to create for the little things, for the practical things. Your business on an everyday basis. How are we tuning into spirit and asking for help? Well, what are we creating? Spirit can't come and help you unless you tell them what you want.
Right. Right. And we're a little bit afraid to do that, I think. I mean, I found that in my own journey is, and I'm still that way sometimes. Like it, I feel like we're just a little bit afraid to ask for those things sometimes and put those dreams out there. Like I actually just did a new moon reading, and that's one of the things that came forward in that reading is that we keep our dreams close to the vest. We don't talk about it. We don't, like
Oh,
we don't
we
dare
have to
think
be
of it.
able to say it out loud because when we say
Yes.
things out loud, there's no interference coming in. But when we're thinking, it's like tick, 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 there's interference. But when we talk it out loud repeatedly, there's no interference with the frequency of it.
Yeah.
So what would be the thing that would be what would be the best case scenario and what would be the worst case scenario if you got what you asked for?
Yeah.
So then you're understanding, well, if I got that, maybe I wouldn't get that. So you almost feel like there's this pleasure and pain thing going on, or
Yeah.
something else is going to drop, like another shoe is going to drop. If I get that, I'm going to be punished for that. So that's just the human and the ego wanting to be right. Yeah, you can't have everything.
Right. I just said that to my friend this morning when we were talking because she was talking about, her daughter is going to be leaving the house in a few years and everything. And she goes, yeah, and then I know that what that's going to mean for this and blah, blah, blah. I go, or, or maybe you're in a completely different place in a few years and that doesn't impact you at all because you're doing so well. And she was like, yeah, you
We
know,
need other people who are on the same wavelength as us to sort of remind us and push us to go further.
yes,
To push us to kind of, build something that's bigger and more expansive and more fun and not be quite so serious. And they're like settling for like, well, I've only ever seen anybody earn 10 grand a month in my vicinity. So, well, okay, that would be good.
yeah,
It's like, well, what would you do then? God, if I earned that much, what would you do with the money then? Oh, I don't know. What if you earn double that, triple that? Oh, well, all the bills are paid off by then. And actually, I could build an empire. I could. And so it then goes on. But we need people to kind of push our boundaries and our limitations, the box that we've put ourselves in.
yes, yes. I've just am in I just actually got this physical space where I'll be working out of a couple days a week where I'm going to be doing readings and different things like that. And I have some of my art set up in there. And the lady who owns the building that I'm in is she's a nurse practitioner and she's so amazing. And I had my first date in the office yesterday and she's that person for me, I think. She's gonna push me to do better and do more. And I never really, I mean, like we all need that person. I feel like we all need that person and we need someone who's fearless in that, like they're okay with that being that person to pull you forward. I remember Regan Hillier. We talked about her. And I also remember another video that I listened to where she said she has this friend and she told her friend, they were having this conversation, and her friend told her, she said, Regan, you're walking too softly upon this earth. And I was like, wow. And I feel like that's what I've been doing, walking too softly. And I know this big thing that's brewing and burbling underneath the surface of everything right now. And I know it's going to scare the shit out of me. I really do know that. And I'm ready, though. At the same time, I'm like, let's go. Like, I'm going to do it. Lisa Nichols says, do it with your knees shaking. So I'm here
Oh,
for it.
absolutely. Absolutely. Would you stand up? There was so would you stand up there with your knees shaking? But there's also, I don't know if you're a mother or not, but
I
there
am.
was a poem that somebody gave me when I first got pregnant. I was 40, I was traveling the world, I got pregnant. And she sent me this poem, and I can't remember how it completely goes, but it's basically, are you strong enough to get up even when you're sick and feed the kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you would crawl, wouldn't you? You'd
Yes.
crawl and you do whatever with your head thumping or whatever it is, and you would do it. And that's what we need to be in this energy when we're running our businesses. When you say there's something coming through that scares the pants off you, it's like you will do it.
Yeah.
If I'm told to stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning and get something finished, you better believe I'm going to do it
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
the good of all.
For the good of all. And it's so exciting. Like it's so exciting. I'm just so much in that energy. And I would love to just, I know not everybody's ready. We all have our own journey. We're all in a different place on our path, but I would love to just like infuse the whole world with that, just that energy. Like you can do it. Of course, like what, of course you can do it. Like there's no question that you can do it. That just confidence and that, yeah, but I know not
Something
everybody's ready
something
for
that
that.
stops people working with me is that they get this feeling that, oh shit, if I do that, that means that. And I was having a conversation with a woman this morning, one of my clients, and this is by far not the first or the last time this will ever happen, and it happens quite regularly. So you get a physical response. I mean, sometimes I burp when energy is changing, or you yawn. It's like, oh, that's normal. She went to the loo 4 times. And I said, I know you haven't been very well. I said, is this? She said, only since we started speaking, Fiona. I went, yeah, sorry about that.
Just
And
purging
so,
out all that other crap.
no, well, she knows it's a purge. God, she's had a pneumonia since she's been with me. She's had bronchitis since she's been with me. I said, but you know it's all a clearing her. She said, yeah, I do, but I'm kind of over it now, you know?
Yeah.
And then she had all this kind of stuff, you know, flowing out of her. And sometimes when people come off a call and I said, look, you know, now that we've done this clearing, I call it a spring clean. The dragons call it an exorcism. I said, we don't really want to call it an exorcism. They said, no, you will call it an exorcism. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh,
People have massive bowel movements. They pee non-stop. They fall asleep for 72 hours. One woman, she's a great friend in Australia, and she said, oh my God, Fiona. She said, I was on my hands and knees vomiting in the back garden.
oh my
And
gosh.
I went, I'm so sorry. She said, no, really, it's good. So, like, there's no small thing that needs to be shifted and stirred, and you will not look the same. You will not be the same. You will stand taller when your soul starts coming through and you start letting all of this stop playing small.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we want shifts, but then we don't want shifts.
Right. Well, we're so afraid of what that means, what our friends are going to think about it, what our family's going to think about it, and what it means for us to look at ourselves in this new way. And yeah, we have those fears. So I think
But
just
then if you
allowing,
look back at all the shifts that you've had, and I can look back at the first time I got that voice through. I was already doing transcendental meditation. I was doing Reiki, it all just like popped in all at one time. And then, you know, the rug was pulled out from under me and that relationship finished. And then I moved into the other house and I got a voice in my head saying, do you want to be doing this in 5 years' time? And I was like,
yes,
no. So if I look back now, another 3 9-year relationships on, or my relationship the rug seemed to be pulled out at 9 years. Come on, Fiona, we're not doing that anymore. Then I would look back and go, God, I would have been so bored. I would have been so bored. And the people that you're meant to keep in touch with, you keep in touch with.
right.
Your family, but you will be different and they will look at you differently. And I've always thought, you know, my brother ridicules me and he doesn't understand what I do. And all of a sudden he sent me this message because I was putting out there, wouldn't it be great if you just kind of really kind of had an interest and understood a little bit about it and didn't kind of go, gosh, she's flaky or whatever. And I got a message from him going, have you read this book? And it was, I can't remember the name, Past Life something. And I said, no, but I've read Journey of Souls, blah, blah, blah. I said, God, I read that, you know, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. 20 years ago. And he said, oh, it's amazing. I can't put it down. I was like, hallelujah. So like people either get really left behind or at some point they'll kind of come through and they'll start asking questions and it's like, okay. So like you say, what's the worst thing that could happen is that you just get, I think most of us are terrified of being all on our own. But then when you meet people like you, when you meet people like other people, and you kind of think, well, there's so many of us around the world. And I'd rather spend an evening with you and people like you than people who have nothing to say on the subject.
Right. Right. It's so much. It's the conversations are so expansive. That's how I feel about it. When people like you and I get together and we have these amazing conversations, to me it opens up even more possibilities. It just pushes that boundary further and further away. Like what boundary? You know what I mean? What edge? What
So what
line?
I'm being told right now is just by talking about it, just getting into the field of the conversation, the reality of it, you make a shift for population, for humanity.
Yes,
So was that when two or more are gathered together?
that's right.
So that can you, I mean, I can feel it in my upper belly, just my solar plexus and upper belly there. It's so yeah. So having these conversations, being in the conduit of life force energy connected up to source and to the ground, we're already doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And people listen to it and I feel, because I know I was this way before I really opened up even more. I want some of that. You know, how can I get to that place where I'm in that, you know? And then that just expands. The ripple just continues to grow. And it's just, to me,
And so
it's so
you lift
beautiful.
other people up and other people
Yes.
lift you up and you lift people up and then carry it up. Because I mean, what I've seen and what I understand is because I was just told by the dragons, you know, to get to love, but there's so much above love. Because most people are kind of going, oh, if I can just get to that, that love frequency. And then the dragons were saying, have you any idea what's above that? And not even, bliss and enlightenment and everything else. It's just like, it's vast. And
Yeah.
you humans have limited yourself to thinking love is the best feeling and expression that you can ever experience. And you believe it has to come from someone else. What
Mm,
if you could feel that love within you
yes.
at any time,
Yes.
and oh, I created that love feeling, and there's no one here to give it to me, but it's coming from me then. Oh, wow. What if you could ask your soul right now, please show me how much you love me? Have the experience of it.
Yeah.
So then anyone else that comes into your life who helps you have that, they're just a bonus.
Exactly. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful and amazing. I love it.
However you get into the love feeling. So if it's like having that puppy in your hands and smelling it and that little round belly and all the fluffy paws, and if that's the feeling that you get, if that's the thing, the experience that gets you into that melting love experience, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Your imagination, what was it that said? Like, if you show me what you can imagine, I can bring it to you.
Yeah. I have
And
a
I
really
know,
great imagination. So what would you say to people? Because this is really an important concept, I think,
yeah,
because I have a really great imagination. It's very, very easy for me to visualize things in my mind, but it
good or
is
bad,
not for everybody. It is not,
yeah, good or bad imagination, huh?
Yeah. Yes, but I focus more on the good, thankfully. Now, I did have it the other way around, but now I'm more diligent in keeping it on the good side. But what would you say to people who aren't as easily able to visualize the things in their mind? Because I know this is a really big holdback for some people.
Waiting for information to come through. So most people have some stronger sense. So you can visualize something, but even a friend that I know has got a very strong sense of smell. So they can smell a lie, or they can smell the truth, or they can smell, you know what I mean?
Fascinating.
So I said, doing my own research, I said, so, but how do you know that? And all it is the senses bring that up into your mind so that you have an experience of it, but then you can actually call it out, give it a name, you can understand, decipher it. So, but even the sense of smell eventually came in as a feeling through the body. So I said, ultimately, it's the feeling then. And this is exactly what the dragons are saying and the spirit guides are saying. It's like what you feel, what your frequency is, what you radiate is what can then be brought back to you.
Mhm.
So maybe then, and this is what I do with my clients, is like, well, tell the story.
Mm,
So if you wanted to go to the point where you wanted to buy a new car, um, tell the story of it. I'm going into the forecourt. I've got money in my pocket, and I've seen this car on the forecourt, and I am opening the door, and then all of a sudden the sales assistant comes along and holds the door open for me, and I sit in the car. But you've got the feeling of it. So you're sitting in the car. I'm feeling the leather seats, and I'm feeling the cream piping along the leather seats. So it's a way to get your imagination going, but so that you can feel the feeling. So maybe you're quite good at telling stories, but I'm smelling there's a new car smell that's in here. So it's use your imagination, but it's like it's using all of your senses. And
yeah.
you can feel what the steering wheel feels like. You can feel the nuggets like where your fingers go, and you can see that there's hardly a dashboard. It's just like a spaceship. It's all screen and it's all electric and da 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 da. Anyway, so I'm able to sort of turn the car on. He gives me the keys, and they're kind of heavy, and turn the car on. So you're going through the whole process, and then you're turning the car on and you're listening to the car and you're feeling the rumble within your body. You're looking down at what you're wearing, so you're making it more visual, as well as having the other senses that are running through as well. You're also then thinking, well, how does it feel in my body to sit in this brand new car? And oh, I'm going to move it forward. I'm going to move it. I'm going to drive it off the forecourt. I'm going to go over the little bump in the where the big windows are, and I'm going to drive through the car park. Oh, it's a new car. I don't want to scratch it. Oh, that's a little bit close. And you're putting in so much detail, which helps develop your imagination. Don't
Yeah.
tell me that a kid never had imagination, that he couldn't see an invisible friend or something like that. But it's just we've been so squashed out of using our imagination. So children are able to kind of cry 1 minute, laugh 1 minute, run about, have a tantrum, and then fall in love with the puppy the next minute. So
Yes.
we can go from feeling really, really, really stressed to really relaxed, or go from really relaxed all the way up to really stressed, and actually feel every single point in our body, whether you've got imagination or not. I will be able to help you. Oh God, it's getting too close. Oh, I can feel my breath is slowing down. I can feel my stomach is contracting. I don't want to go any further than 9. It's okay. We're going to stop at 9. Get the feeling of it. This is what stress feels like for you in your body. Come down the fireman's pole and land yourself back in relax. Put your feet in the earth, put your toes in the sand, feel the heat on your body. So like all the senses need to be awakened.
Engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, imagination. There's just got to be more ways that you can be more imaginative. And this is part of the game, isn't it? Really.
Yes.
Um, if nobody ever tells you that you could make the dice fall on a 6 when you're playing Monopoly, you wouldn't try, would you?
Right.
But if you, I mean, maybe you play like this as well. I know I do. Like this fur rough, like, well, what if I could make the dice fall on a 2 because I don't want to land on his and I don't want to land on hers, and I just, playing Monopoly or whatever, or playing a game of cards, I'm only open for the next card to be under a 5, and that's what you get every single time you ask for something. It's just stretching that playfulness, and isn't imagination playful?
That is exactly right. It
But we've
certainly
just all
is.
got too sensible, too serious, too stuck in the mud, and we've forgotten to be silly and frivolous.
Yes. Well, and so I talked to a young lady yesterday, and she's in school right now. So she's got study, study, study. And one of the things I talked to her about is that it doesn't have to be this long, drawn out process that a lot of us try to make it into sometimes, because as humans, we love to complicate things, right? I said, sometimes it's just a matter of closing your eyes and taking a couple deep breaths and just dropping back into your heart for a moment and just centering yourself. So, what would you say to these people who are super, super busy? They're go, go, go nonstop from the time they get up in the morning till the time they go to bed at night. What would you say to them about how to get into this playfulness and stuff again?
Okay, I got the image as soon as you asked. So I often say to people when they are, they're in their job and they don't really like it, or in school or something like that, I said, you've got to take a break. You've got to go to the toilet. And when you're in that TARDIS of the toilet, you're in your own little space. Imagine it like a little yoga ball or something like that. And you're like, oh. So the question is, where am I? But that brings you into your head. The quickest way to do it is to imagine that you have a puppy sleeping on you.
Aw,
Didn't you go there straight away?
yes.
Can you feel the weight of it? Can you feel the breath? They've got a very particular smell.
Yeah.
You can feel the warmth. You can feel the fur and the ears and their breathing. And you just want to catch their breath because it's just so. Puppies have a very, very particular. It could be a kitten, by the way. It could be a cat. Have a very particular breath, and they're sleeping and they're slumbering and they need you so much, and you're needed, and they love you so much, and you love them so much. That feeling of love will bring you back inside in an instant.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
And
And
it
we
will
all have to
carry
go to the
on.
bathroom during the day. So that's a
And you will
great
have to,
place to.
yeah, you can radiate that. Like when they say you do a quick burn exercise, it can last for like 2 hours afterwards. And so does that. It just keeps on working. And then all of a sudden it kind of like, it shrinks back down again. So let's just go and do it again.
Yeah.
Do it when you're driving the car. Do it when you're in the supermarket. What it puts around you is this bubble of, I don't want to say protection because it's not protection. It's just this filter.
Hmm.
that goes around you that stops you feeling what everybody else is feeling, because you just feel so good on the inside. So you're radiating out. You're not being absorbent and taking everybody else's rubbish in.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I love that.
The same as for all the coaches who have to sit there and listen to people whinging and victim stories, and you think, oh my God, what a rough time they've had. I mean, I have this pink dragon who comes in, and she's called Bloom, and she came in one day when this was going on and just went, oh God, thank you so much. She just came down in between me and the client, and I went, oof, good, I can hear it, but I don't have to feel it anymore. That's so awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing because we do allow ourselves to absorb a lot of stuff from other people a lot of times. I found myself in that situation recently and I didn't see it happening until afterwards. And I even told Steve, I'm like, it's so crazy. I said, I just allowed myself to be, absorbed into this energy. And I heard myself talking and I'm thinking, who is like, I don't talk like that. What is going on right now? And I had to get, when spirit works and does what spirit does. And now I don't have to deal with that anymore. So, but I recognized it in myself. It was a lesson to myself to be more mindful of
Yeah,
what I'm allowing myself to be drawn into.
yeah. Yeah, and we pick it up even from the car that's driving beside us. We pick it up off the screen. I mean, if I can feel you, whether you're in Australia or in America or Canada, I can feel what's going on in you no matter where we are. And like, but that's my role. I'm okay to do that. But
Yeah.
then Fiona has to go and, clean that energy off at the end of the call.
Yeah. That's important. Energetic hygiene is what I've heard that called.
And I think I remember the spirit saying to me, we can't send you anyone new until you know how to take care of yourself, Fiona.
Yes.
I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So we
really,
get these little, they're very parental. And my dragons are very interesting in the fact that they say, mummy's here, daddy's here. It's that energy, you
yeah.
know. We're here to support you and take care of you. We don't know what it's like to be a human, but we're so in reverence of you being there and dealing with all of this. Like, but you've got so much support.
Yeah. Yeah. We forget that sometimes, I think, how much support we actually have. The human factor is a beast sometimes.
They're so willful, aren't they, these humans? They
Yes.
think they're right all the time.
Yes. So I love this conversation so much. It's so amazing. And the energy of it is so incredible. And I know people are so curious about what you offer as your programs and your different things like that. So I would love for you to tell people about what you have to offer and how they can find you.
Um, okay, well, the first thing I'm being told to let you know that's available are the vision of that Source has for you business readings. So this is not just if you have a business, it could be you have a question about something else. So the very, very beginning bit is the fact that you can have one of these vision source readings. Now it's a three-part. So basically, I go in, I channel, I ask the questions, I write all that down in my weird shorthand, and I then read it back and I do a recording of it so that you've got it. So you can watch it like, what's that bit again? So you watch it. And then what we do is we have a face to face so that I can channel any information or questions that you have specifically about that so we can answer that. So that's what I'm available. That's what, I'll give you the link for that. Another thing that I do is manifest with spirit guidance. So this is going through what the dragons have taught me and all the 7 and 8 processes to allow you to go through the first portal so that you understand how to operate in your business, how to manifest something in your business. You'll have one thing in mind that you want to manifest. So we go in and we help that happen. You get a business reading within that, by the way. And you have me every single week, and we go in and find out where you are, what you've taken from the lesson, how you've been attuned, how you need activating, what's your next step. So that's for 12 weeks. And then after those 12 weeks, you pop over into the membership group and you get to practice, 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 practice. Rehearse your story, do the activations, ask the questions, have the spring cleans, have the exorcisms, as the dragon called them. So that's all within that. So I shall send you the link for that as well. These are the two things that I absolutely, absolutely love at the moment, because it just encompasses everything. And do we only talk about business? Hell no, because as you deal with one thing, you deal with everything.
That's right. It's
Talking
all
about block,
connected.
you're talking about block drains. If you're talking about you've just reversed into something, or you talked about something's just going on in my relationship. So of course, all of it is coming together, and what we do together is we decipher what that message actually is for you and what you're being asked to do next.
It sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. And so you have a website where people can find you
I
to,
do. It's fionarobertson.co. So without the M, just co.
okay,
It's
awesome.
Fiona Robertson, my name that's on the screen here, .co. And that is my website. And I have a shop, and in there you'll find the business readings, and you'll find the Manifest with Spirit guidance. And I'll give you the links, Dee, so that you can help everybody understand just exactly what they can have.
Yes, exactly. And do you have any final words of wisdom from yourself or the dragons or both before we close out for today?
I'm just getting going, keep going. It's going to get faster. Don't get left behind.
Ooh, right, goosebumps.
Yeah, it's just
Oh,
going to get faster. You're going to be able to, when they say manifest, everybody's manifested. When people say they're disconnected, no, they're not disconnected. They're just not seeing that the shit that's happening is actually your guidance.
that's right. Right.
It's just going to get faster and faster and faster. That, whatever we're saying, whatever we're repeating, whatever story we're telling, we're going to manifest that into form in the physical world. And we won't like some of the things that we manifest.
Yeah.
So let's get on board. Let's get someone to support you so that you can know how to say it, what you can ask, so that you just keep every single area of your life, containers, if you want to call them that, and just keep going bigger and bolder and brighter and play a bigger. What's my thing for this year? Go big or go home.
I love it. You can't have a dream too big, right? There's no such thing.
But as I know, if I say that, then I have to step up.
That's right. That's right. And that's okay. It's a beautiful thing.
And that's okay. And I can't do it on my own either. And I have people who need to support me too.
Yeah. I read something not too long ago, and I've said this in previous videos, I think, but it said that if you can accomplish your dream by yourself without any help, then you are not dreaming big enough.
Love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
No, 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 exactly. Oh, yeah, exactly.
awesome. So
No, we
dream
shouldn't
big,
play small.
everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've enjoyed this immensely. Don't jump off. I'm going to just close this out and then we'll chat for a second. Thank you,
Great.
everyone, for joining us on this beautiful episode of Spiritually Speaking. I appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can get this message out to more and more people. I love each and every one of you. I will see you on the next one.